What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Blitz Angle. I'm Ryan Linkletter. I'm here with Brady Penn today. It's been a little bit, Brady, but we're back, and we're on a new channel. For those of you guys that haven't noticed, the Blitz Angle is officially moving to its own channel, and it'll be NFL news, NFL content all season long for you guys. And we are going to have a bunch of rotating guests with me and Brady here on the Blitz Angle. But today, we're talking about the NFL preseason, what we think of some of these teams and how they've kind of showcased what they have heading into week one of the regular season and some transactions. Brady, how has it been working for the Atlanta media this year and covering the Braves?
It's been really cool. It's been a good opportunity. I'm glad that I still have the balance to do some blitz stuff and still contribute, but definitely really cool. Obviously, we're more in the football space, but getting to be around professional baseball as well. And then now, as football season kicks up, getting some football coverage in has been great.
Yes, sir. 100%. I mean, listen, preseason's over. I mean, it can't come any closer for us. Let's talk about some of the biggest headlines from teams this preseason. And let's start out with the Chicago Bears, a team that everybody's been talking about. They got Ben Johnson. They significantly improved their interior offensive line. They added some more weapons around Caleb Williams. What have you noticed from this team and their first team specifically this preseason?
Yeah, I think the offensive operation and the limited looks we saw just looked a lot cleaner than it did last year. Obviously, Shane Waldron last year is a lot
Shane
different
Waldron is the
offensive coordinator.
anti-quarterback coach.
Yeah, and so I just felt like there was a lot of fluidity and there was a lot of, easy decisions for Caleb Williams. And I like the way that the Bears have done it. Other teams have done this too, in the sense of stack up your offensive core as much as you can with your young quarterback to find out as quick as possible, expedite the process of is he the guy, is he not the guy? And I think that's what it is for Caleb Williams this year. Like, no one's expecting him, no one's going to say it's a failure if he doesn't go out and win 12 games. But I think we're all expecting at least 9 wins or so this year for the Bears to take that
Or
next
even
step.
just
And
a cleaner operation from them.
yeah, like if they lose some games because of the defense and they end up 8-9 or something, but they have a great offense, you can live with that. You can build off of that for Caleb Williams. The main thing for him is you want to see more explosive plays. You want to see less indecisiveness from Caleb Williams, and I think he's got the setup around him for that. I think that honestly, I was talking to someone about this the other day. I think that the guy that's going to fill the Amon Ra role, we talked about this in the draft, is Colston
Zacchaeus.
Loveland. Like, I think it's
Oh,
gonna be
really?
Colston. I think it's gonna be Colston Loveland. Like, obviously he's not the same exact skill set, but I think they're gonna have him off the ball, offset at Y a bunch, getting looks over the middle of the field. I think they're gonna let Burden, DJ Moore, and Odunze work the outsides. I do think you're gonna see some Alameda Zacchaeus. And overall, I mean, outside of a running game, I'm not super inspired by. I think the passing game should be there should be a lot available at Williams' disposal.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're absolutely loaded in terms of weapons. Like, I think what's fascinating, you kind of take a look at how this operation is ran when they ran their starters. Obviously, the Buffalo backups wasn't a great litmus test, but we got to see how they were utilized, right? Colston Loveland early on involved. Cole Kmet was even involved as well. They're going to run a lot of two tight end sets with both those guys, and Loveland could be playing a little bit of wide receiver. And Ben Johnson, when they drafted him, said a coach called him the most talented player he's ever coached. Like, Colston Loveland's an absolute dog. He's going to have a significant impact. I think the interesting part of that rotation at receiver, Zacchaeus has been playing a ton for them right now. Luther Burden hasn't cracked that starting lineup yet. I'm interested to see how long that takes. Burden, obviously, very talented player, but Zacchaeus is a veteran in an offense with a young quarterback. I think that's what they like in him right now. You nailed it on the head. The running game is what it is. DeAndre Swift against the Chiefs played 20 of 21 snaps at running back with Roshan Johnson and Kyle Monagai both missing time. I don't think that backfield's set in stone for what they want under Ben Johnson, but it's a work in progress. And the first week the starters went out there against the Bills. I mean, Brady, it couldn't have been any better. 97
Right.
yards, touchdown,
And
everything was clean.
they look pretty good against Kansas City too. And
It took a little bit.
yeah, like they started off a little slow, but you started to see them click a little bit against a good defense, even if it wasn't all the main guys. What I'll say, I think with the Bears and their running game is it's going to be a play by ear situation where if the Bears are sitting 6-3, I think they might go after somebody. They might go after a Brees Hall type or someone at midseason and try to
Yeah.
upgrade that room if they're making a winning push in the NFC North.
Yeah, and I think they're gonna need a guy that kind of has that. I mean, I don't know what we're gonna get out of Kyle Monagai. He's the wild card. We know what we have in Roshan Johnson, DeAndre Swift. They're not necessarily game changing pieces, right? But if Ben Johnson's system works, we saw Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift be very successful before they got a backfield of Montgomery and Gibbs. So it is possible that they can roll with those guys and it'll take pressure off of
Hey,
Caleb. But what were you gonna
one
say?
One name to monitor, I think, if the Bears do try to upgrade their running back room around midseason, is Tyler Algier from the Atlanta Falcons. He reminds me a lot with Bijan getting so many touches, and then on top of that, the target rate that London and Mooney are going to have. There's not going to be a ton of touches for Algier, and if he decides, hey, I want another opportunity, and the Falcons grant him that, depending on how their season is going, he is literally a David Montgomery type of running back that I could see Ben Johnson trying to get his paws all over. Just a thought.
He would fit well. He would fit well in that system. And the thing with Caleb that's going to take the pressure off of him are the two-step drops, getting the ball out of his hands. And I've seen more of Caleb Williams doing that than a lot of the times that we watched him last year, which is a good step in the right direction for him. Let's talk about some other teams here. Let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals, right? This team has had probably as many headlines as any other team this offseason. They were able to retain Jamar Chase, T. Higgins at receiver. Well, that doesn't leave much left over for the defense. And Trey Hendrickson held out for a while. Shamar Stewart, their first-round pick, held out for a while. Those guys are finally signed, and from what we've watched their first team defense in the preseason, I mean, it's looked pretty rough, just as bad as last year, maybe even worse. Brady, I don't know about you, but if I'm ever a GM, why would I build a roster that already has a top 4 for sure quarterback in the NFL, sign 2 of the best receivers in the league for $90 million, and just say, yeah, we'll get 2 edge rushers, and then the defense will just be a bunch of replaceable veterans? How does that make sense?
It would be one thing if this was the front office that drafted well, but they have not. They've drafted very poorly over the last 3-4 years, ever since Burrow and Chase kind of came into their own and the Bengals started contending. They've not been a good drafting team. And you can cover up, financial holes like that if you draft well, especially in the secondary, but they haven't. And I think where they went wrong is paying T. Higgins. And it's not because of T. Higgins. He's obviously an amazing player. But when it comes down to paying at 70% or whatever it is of your cap space to 3 guys on the offense, and none of them are even offensive linemen, where you're consistently a bottom 3 O-line in the NFL every year, that's not a recipe for success. Now, with how dominant those 3 are, I still think this team finds a way to win 9, 10, 11 games, anywhere in that ballpark. But it's going to be shootouts, and there are going to be games that other teams should not be in with them that they are, because of how poor the Bengal defense is. And they better hope that Shamar Stewart is ready to go, and he is a high impact player off the edge, because just Trey Hendrickson isn't going to do it for you. You don't really have anybody in the back end. You don't really have any run stoppers at the linebacker or interior positions. And it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, even Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers could get off on these guys. I don't know if there's a guy that can cover DK Metcalf on this team.
I don't know if there's any guys in the Bengals secondary that are going to cover guys very well right now.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens, but it's not looking good for their defense. And one thing I want to say about the Bengals, Joe Burrow's a phenomenal player, but I'm already getting tired of like the media machine propping up the Joe Burrow MVP for this season. Like, just because he was so great last year, and Joe Burrow was great. I think it's a little bit overstated sometimes how great he was, but I see the preseason MVP Joe Burrow. Oh, Joe Burrow is about to win MVP this year from all these media outlets. He's the best thrower of the football in the world. We need to stop with this, because it's not true, and it's just, I mean, to put it in one word, it's just cope from people that don't like Mahomes, Allen, or Lamar, or all 3.
Well, the thing with Burrow too is Burrow had one really good postseason run, right, and hasn't
where he was average.
Yes,
the defense and the special
he wasn't
teams.
even playing his best football of his career at that point, right? He had really clutch drives in that postseason. Don't get me wrong there, but he wasn't carrying a team like he is now at this point in his career, and he hasn't won consistently like Mahomes, Allen, or Lamar, to where people are like, man, I just don't like that guy. He annoys me. So it's just, oh man, Joe Burrow's that pretty guy off to the side.
He's the safe guy to love.
He is. Yeah. He's the safe guy to like. Puts up big numbers, has a lot of big offensive performances, right? Will, not necessarily always be there in big time games consistently, to where we've seen Josh Allen in the playoffs just come up short because of coaching, right? I just think with Joe Burrow, right, we know what we have in him. He's going to be a really good player for a long time, but until they improve that defense, we're never going to get a year where Joe Burrow is going to be, winning a Super Bowl and an MVP in the same year.
He's literally becoming the modern age Drew Brees, yes.
Yeah, he's going to put up big gaudy numbers, but I don't know if they're going to do enough around him. And the thing with Zach Taylor too is they just keep bringing Zach Taylor along because, Joe Burrow likes him, and he's never been, the great X's and O's coach that they need in Cincinnati, or even like a leader in general. I mean, you watch the quarterback. I don't know if you watch that, but
Mhm.
like Burrow's competitiveness compared to Zach Taylor's competitiveness, I don't think it's on the same level.
And it's like Zach Taylor was like kind of trying to almost quench that fire sometimes, like, "Hey, no, it's fine, it's fine." And Joe Burrow's like, "F that, no, it's not fine. Like we suck." Like,
Yeah, it's
uh,
definitely an interesting situation over there for sure. Let's talk about a few other teams in this preseason. The Chiefs, right? A lot of headlines out of there. Obviously, coming off of a brutal Super Bowl loss, people thinking, this Kansas City Chiefs team is not the same. The offense hasn't been as good past 2 years. Now you enter Josh Simmons at left tackle is completely, locked down that position from the start. He's been healthy, right? The receiver room has been healthy. Obviously, Rashee Rice now has a 6-game suspension, but the receiver room's been healthy. What did you think of the Chiefs and their starters and the limited action we saw from them?
yeah, I thought they looked pretty good. And even just aside from preseason action, I just want to say, like, people that are trying to use the Super Bowl loss to like dogpile and think the Chiefs are going to compound and not be back. I got news for you. Like, I think you can go ahead and pencil the Chiefs back in the AFC Championship again this year, and that's where I
But
have
Brady,
them.
Brady, Brady, you don't understand. You have to look in the comment section and look at 40 to 22 on every single NFL post until the season starts.
Look, I'm as much of a Chief troll enjoyer as anyone, but I gotta give flowers. Like, you still have Patrick Mahomes, you still have Andy Reid, you still have Spags and a good defense. You got the left tackle figured out. You think you'll have Rice back. There's just a lot going in the Chiefs' favor, and I don't think anyone besides Baltimore in the AFC can really say that they have a better roster than Kansas City. So
Yeah.
they're gonna be right back where they always are, and I think it's a good thing for them that Rashee Rice is missing the beginning instead of the middle of the year. I think it would have been worse for the Chiefs to have him in the middle of the year catch a suspension and then have to refigure out the offense and then
I mean, their
refigure it out
schedule to
again when he
start the
comes
year,
back.
yeah, the schedule to start the year is tough, but the middle of the year, you have those division games against the Broncos. They're going to need to win because Denver is going to be pretty good this season. There's a lot of games mixed in the middle, and you want to get rolling towards the end of the year. Rashee
Right.
Rice missing the middle of the year, you have really good momentum on the offense. It stalls, and then you got to pick it back up towards the postseason. I think the Chiefs would be fine with that, but I think I agree with you in the sense that you miss your guy for the first 6 weeks, sure, right? You face the Lions, Eagles, and Ravens in 3 of those 6 weeks, which is going to be pretty
I
tough.
got them.
But
I got a 4-2 record in the stretch for them.
yeah, and I mean they won 15 games last year without Rashee
Yep.
Rice and Hollywood Brown, so they've done it before. The player that I've been most impressed with, maybe this year, has been Pacheco. Every time I've watched Pacheco run the ball this year compared to what I saw last season, obviously he suffered the ankle injury. It's been downhill, it's been explosive, and it looks like 2022 Isaiah Pacheco. And I mean that running game last year was steady with Kareem Hunt, but I haven't seen anything in the
There
past
wasn't
year or
any
two.
fireworks.
No,
Yeah.
there's no fireworks. And Brashard Smith, he's coming along. Sure, he's going to have a small role, but a converted wide receiver that plays running back, it's Dexter McCluster 2.0 for Andy Reid. Should be a weapon for them. All right, let's talk about some preseason news and notes. Brady, there's been a ton of stuff going around the league. Let's talk about the Washington Commanders, a team that, has really high expectations heading into this year. Locked up Terry McLaurin, right? You trade Brian Robinson Jr. to the 49ers. What is your outlook for this team right now after these big moves?
They're taking a step back. I truly do believe. I think that this team, people get clouded by the fact that the Commanders got hot for a couple of weeks there down the back end. And even they were great in the playoffs. I don't want to take anything away from that. But you look at the regular season, I think their last 4 games they faced. So it was a Kenny Pickett, Cooper Rush, Spencer Rattler. Like it was
Dogs, bunch of dogs.
not good quarterbacks. They kind of were able to get their momentum back. Where they were sitting at 7-5 entering December. The defense just is not very good. I do like the fact that they added Laramie Tunsil on their offensive line, as well as Josh Connerly, correct?
Yep, yep.
That was who,
Connerly's
well, yeah,
there.
Connerly. So they added 2 tackles, and I think that should be good for them. It's obviously great to get Terry McLaurin back. I'd be even lower on them if they didn't, but who are the rest of the receivers here? Noah Brown. You don't even have Zacchaeus anymore. You got Debo Samuel, who really is not even a wide receiver anymore. He's a gadget guy that's nearing 30 at this rate and is slowing down both in the physical and just career sense. And look at the defense. I mean, it's like a bunch of washed legends like Von Miller, Bobby Wagner, Marshawn Lattimore. Like, I don't like this defense at all, especially the fact that they have to face the Eagles twice. They have to face Dak, CD, and Pickens twice. Like, I don't like this for them. I think that they've got a really tough schedule. They're going from playing a third or fourth place schedule last year to playing a second place schedule. They play the Chiefs in Arrowhead, play the Eagles twice, play the Lions. Like they've got a lot of really tough games. And I think this is only going to be like a 9-8, like fringe 7 seed level team this year. I don't think people that are expecting Jaden Daniels to take another leap and have an MVP type year and for this team to contend to win the East are going to be happy. Like I think y'all are going to be disappointed if that's your expectation for this team. I think they'll be more or less what they were last year, probably a little bit less.
I think offensively, I don't think I'm as concerned just because I think Jaden Daniels is that guy. Like, I mean, what Jaden Daniels did last year, taking the Commanders roster to
Oh
the
yeah.
playoffs and how he did, like I believe in the fact that Jaden Daniels can carry this team. Now, if Jaden Daniels misses any time, they're absolutely screwed. You're right, and you're dead on with the defense. The defense is rough. Like, there's no other way to put it. You're relying on 34-year-old veterans to carry this defense. And I mean, Marshawn Lattimore is nowhere near the level. At least Bobby Wagner still is pretty good against the run.
The one
Not as
guy
good
that
in
I really
coverage.
like, the one guy I really like is Sainer still. I love Mikey Sainer still.
He is one of the more exciting pieces. But like outside, I can't buy into this defense against a tough
No.
NFC.
And by the way, I do want to add really quick, like I would caution people that want to. I get really tough when it comes to Jaden specifically because Jaden was great and I think is going to continue to be great. But last year we saw perfect example. We saw CJ Stroud come in to a terrible team, take them to the playoffs, win a playoff game, and then we had people talking about CJ being QB5, QB6 in the league. And then CJ really wasn't any worse this past season than he was his rookie year. His surroundings got a little worse. Teams got a little bit more of a book on him, and he was still good, but not quite as good. They got into the playoffs off of a weak division, so I could see a similar trajectory. I mean, Herbert a little bit worse his sophomore season. Like I could see something similar for Jaden Daniels, where he's still a good player, but has to figure out a little bit more than he did last year. And the Commanders as a whole around him are a little worse too.
Yeah, I want to jump ship to a team that I think could take the biggest step forward, like the Commanders. And I know you're going to be excited about this, but the New England Patriots are a team I've been eyeing up as potentially one of the deeper playoff sleepers of the year. Patriots have a very easy schedule to find a way to make the playoffs. This offense completely, I don't want to say, got the best talent in the world around Drake May. They didn't do that, but they have enough talent around Drake May now. You got Stephon
Way more
Diggs.
than last
Way,
year.
way more. The tackles are significantly better. The offensive line is going to be better. Travion Henderson is one of my favorite playmakers to watch in the NFL. All you got to do is get the ball in the guy's hands, and Josh McDaniels is going to know how to do that. I like what they're building on offense. I think the pieces aren't necessarily world beaters by any means, but Travion Henderson excites me. Defensively is what really excites me. This defense had a down year last year. You bring in Mike Vrabel. They spent a ton of money on the defense. Carlton Davis, Christian Gonzalez as your corners. Brady, this defense is going to be fun to watch. Are the New England Patriots, are they a playoff team? Just tell me right now.
I think I have them just missing. I have them winning 10 games and just missing that 7 seed. But 10 wins after a 4-win season is a huge, huge
Huge
success year
step.
one
Yeah.
for Mike Vrabel, and it proves to you that Drake May is the guy that you want to build around, which I already believe, but I know there are a lot of people outside of the Patriots fan base that aren't quite sold on Drake May because they look at the box score stats. He had this and that turnovers. If you go watch Patriots games last year, Drake May was like literally so he was trying to do the impossible with the roster he had around him. I think a lot of it offensively is just going to come down to Will Campbell. If Will Campbell is who they believe he is, that's going to be a huge, huge help for May. And having Morgan Moses, a veteran at right tackle on the other side to mentor Campbell along too, will be really big. You got an Onwenu at guard. I think sooner than later, Jared Wilson out of Georgia will be starting for the Patriots, probably at center. He's one of the most athletic offensive linemen out of this past year's draft. And yeah, like you said, the defense, they spent a lot of capital. They got Harold Landry, Robert Spillane, Carlton Davis, and some other guys. Added Kyle Williams at receiver. You got Matt Collins, who's a nice little veteran wide receiver, better than the guys you had at wide receiver 4 and 5 last year. So, like you said, the schedule's really easy. You got like the Browns, the Saints, the Titans, whole bunch of last place teams from
Whole
last year,
bunch
as
of
the
bad
Patriots
teams.
were a last place team themselves. And I think that this team can mess around and win 9 or 10 games. AFC East is pretty weak outside of Buffalo. I don't think the Dolphins will be good. I think the Jets will be even worse. So I don't see why the Patriots can't at least double their win total from last year.
Yeah, and we'll kind of shift this to another team that has a lot of question marks and potentially the last year of this quarterback starting, the Arizona Cardinals. And the Cardinals are such a fascinating team to me because they're going to have an easier schedule this year, right? They were trending towards the playoffs and they fell apart down the stretch. And this team made a ton of moves defensively that I really like. I mean, you go and add Walter Nolan, you go and add Will Johnson on that defense, right? You had Josh Sweat as well. Jonathan Gannon is building a strong group over there, and I really like what they're doing. Offensively, basically zero changes. They brought back Drew Petzing, who I don't necessarily love for Kyler Murray's development, and he's not necessarily one of the better offense coordinators in the league right now. But, right, they bring everybody back on offense, and they're saying we're running it back. Brady, I feel like this is leading to one scenario. The Cardinals will go, they'll win 8 to 10 games. The defense is going to take a massive step forward. The offense is going to be the exact same. Kyler is going to have some games where he looks really good. He's going to have some games where he loses them. And I think this is his last year potentially as a starter. If not, next year would be his last year and they clean the entire offensive staff out. I think this is a make or break year for the Cardinals. What are you thinking?
I think so too. And I just talked about this yesterday in my season preview TikTok for the Arizona Cardinals. I think it could be Kyler's last year. And it's like with the Cardinals, I want to buy into this team so bad. I really do.
They got pieces I like.
You got Marvin Harrison, Trey McBride. That's one of the best young pass catching duos in the league. And every year since 2021, I've said Cardinals are going to take that step this year. Kyler Murray's great. And I think Kyler Murray's a very high ceiling quarterback, but I think he's an inconsistent high ceiling quarterback. I just think he makes a lot of really dumb mistakes sometimes. And I can't plant my flag on him again, like figuring it out this year. I know they made the playoffs in 21, but since then, what? Like, it seems like late game moments, Kyler Murray more often than not messes it up more than he helps bring them to a win. And I think it's rare to say this about a wide receiver. I think this team wants to make Marvin Harrison have the best situation possible. With the draft capital they spent on him, he was with the 4th pick in the NFL draft. He looked great last year. If you watch the tape, I know people. This is what annoys me about like NFL social media. People act like Marvin Harrison had some like buns rookie year. Man had like 900 yards and 7 touchdowns or something like that. Like that's a good rookie year.
With
it's
a
just
really bad utilization. Like
yeah,
the dude had 0 design pass plays.
Our expectations are so blown up because you see a Malik Neighbors and a Brian Thomas like going berserk. And I think that Marvin Harrison like was not put in the position to do that same thing. He wasn't getting targeted as much. They weren't letting him cook out of the slot where he was best at. When they put him in the slot against Miami, had one of his best games, if not his best game. So I want to see them switch it up a little bit offensively. Defense still scares me a little bit, but I do like the additions they made to the front. Obviously, Budda Baker's an amazing player, but I just can't do it with the Cardinals. Cardinals and Seahawks are going to be fighting it out for last place in this division. I don't know what the win total is for that, but yeah, I'm with you. I think that this could be Kyler's last year, and Kyler could be heading elsewhere after the 2025 season.
All right, let's talk about the last headline before we close this show up. Micah Parsons, potentially one of the biggest names available in recent memory. I genuinely don't know if he's going to suit up week 1. And I think we are heading towards a divorce eventually. Like, what are your thoughts on this situation?
Dude, I know that the Nothing Ever Happens fan club is kind of nervous right now that something might actually happen because, all these trade requests. That's the slogan, nothing ever happens with these. But I think something might happen, and I think there actually is smoke to the Green Bay Packers trying to get him right now and having an offer on the table for him. It's a matter of whether the Cowboys take it, but if they offer you, if the Cowboys get offered 2 first-rounders, a second-rounder, maybe even a third-rounder, and then Rashawn Gary or Xavier McKinney or something.
Dude, that would be insane if they got that haul.
And a $45 million deal for Micah Parsons from the Packers to become the highest paid defensive player. Like, I think it legit could happen. And by the way, if that does happen, Packers elevate to probably the number 1 team in the NFC North. Like,
they have okay, you could argue like coaching wise, LaFleur is the best coach in the NFC North. This roster has not been like I love Kevin O'Connell. He's a great coach, but the Vikings roster has been significantly better than what Green Bay has had to deal with, and LaFleur has them there every single year.
And I think Jordan Love is a little bit underrated consensus wise. Like I don't
mean,
think
he was hurt last year too, where he just did not
I don't think
play
he's
well.
an elite guy, but I think he's good, and I think you can win with him. And I think that him and Matthew Golden are going to immediately have a great connection. I think that Jaden Reed is going to shift to being one of the better number twos in the league. So I do think that there is smoke to the Micah Parsons thing, and even if it doesn't happen this season, very, very well could happen next offseason. If Micah decides to just play, if it feels like he's losing too much money and they don't get a deal done, he's out of here after next season. So they got to figure out, if you're the Cowboys and you want him there long term, you need to figure out a deal in the next week, 2 weeks. But
what
see.
I don't understand too is why they just don't just pay the man, right? The edge rusher is the second most premium position in the NFL that you need. You saw in the Super Bowl how good a pass rush can demoralize and just destroy an offense when it's beating up an offensive line. It changes everything. You go and pay your quarterback, you go and pay your edge rusher, and you can go pay CeeDee Lamb like they did. They can do that, right? You just have to draft well. And I feel like Jerry Jones is just saying, hey, I don't draft that well. I can't afford to spend money on Micah Parsons like that. And he never spends money on free agents anyways.
It's so weird to me because Jerry Jones at this point is getting up there in age. I don't know why he wouldn't make a bunch of all-in moves to try and figure it out before, his time. I don't understand. Micah Parsons is
he's been on an all-time
best
bad
edge
GM
rushers. Run. Absolutely. I mean, him and Bill Belichick are the award winners for senile GMs of the last decade.
had a really strong prime, but just completely fell off.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on in Dallas, but we're going to find out what happens. Brady, appreciate you hopping on today. Make sure you guys have notifications on for when the Blitz angle is dropping. We'll be dropping all season long for you guys, live streams as well. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys next time.
Yes, sir. We see y'all.